No.
Yo,
And here we
yo,
are. Happy Hump
What
Day,
up?
everybody.
what's going on, y'all?
Nothing much.
Hump day.
That's right. Hey, Claudia's getting Hump Day done right. What are you drinking on, Claudia?
And I'm a gin and tonic with lime gal.
Oh shit! Look at
There
that.
you go. There you
That's
go.
what's up. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I
How was your day, Claudia?
oh, fought with some tow companies. It's another day in transportation. It was a good day. I had a good week this week. Got a couple of wins that I'll talk about later on. But still facing some struggles. So just another day in transportation and having fun in paradise.
Aw- Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to hear about your wins and the rest of your day here in a minute. Hunter, how was your day, bro? Cephas?
It was great. It is getting into full swing fall time here in Nashville. Went on a nice long walk this morning. Found a new fishing spot. Very excited about it. Won't brag too much, but other than that, man, just another day living the dream. How about yourself, Rob?
You know, it's normal day, dude. Nothing exciting. Just like I said, normal shit, man. Booked a few loads. Made some calls and emails to some prospects, and that's pretty much it, man. Nothing super spectacular worth taking up more time to talk about. So we're going to go ahead then, and we're going to get right on rolling into things. But before we do, we got to give a shout out to these wonderful sponsors. Y'all seen Karen
Absolutely.
and King rolling across the bottom of the screen. Karen Cole, she does insurance, takes care of all types of insurance for brokers, carriers, and she'll get y'all set up, make sure that you have the proper coverages that you need. Still waiting
Has
on
anybody
somebody.
sent you the song?
Dude, I was about to say I'm still waiting on somebody to send me the lyrics of that damn song, man.
Uh,
Uh, all right. Moving on to our next sponsor, AccuBid Pro. Jimmy and his team over there have this amazing app available in the Google and the Apple Store. Help all you drivers or specifically lease and owner operators figure out your cost, record your costs, understand your cost per mile to help you bid better, to make more money. If I can find the freaking thing.
Don't be a victim of cheap freight anymore. Take back control. These are turbulent times for the transportation industry, with companies merging or even closing their doors. Whether you're going out on your own or leasing on with a new company, know your operating costs. Look out for you and bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. I know, right? Mr. Bannon, what's up, dude? I love that picture. I love that picture, man. We're in the talks of having this gentleman come on the show here soon. So that's another one that I'm really excited about. So
that's my
all right,
homie
all
right
right,
there.
huh?
That's my homie. I know him.
He's a hoot. I had a chance to talk with him for a little bit last week, and man, he had me rolling for like the whole 30 minutes we were talking. And
Yeah.
man, he is quite a guy, and I'm not going to give
Hmm.
anything away from him, but I'm telling you, you would not expect him to know the things and have the background that he does. But man,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a conversation
Yeah.
for another time. So,
I
but
know the Secret
oh,
Squirrel stuff, so I'm telling you, it's fun.
we
That's gonna be a show to tune in for sure.
it is. It's going to be fun having him on. We're going to play up the whole thing we did with another guest, Joe. He's a compliance guy and used to be a DOT officer, and so we did a whole mysterious thing with him because he didn't want to show his face and everything. So we're gonna do the same thing with old Tim here.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you the MFFFFFFFFF. Like we can say them all. I don't need to say them all on the show, but freight fighters are somewhere up in there.
Oh man, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move into our little new segment.
Yeah.
This one is really relevant to right now because it is open enrollment for healthcare right now. Boom. All right, y'all see another article from Commercial Carrier. Actually, no lie. This is not from. Oh, it is Commercial Carrier Journal. My people, my people, my people. I love these folks. All right, easing drivers access to healthcare. So this article here is talking about the I guess can't think of the word, how it not is being easy for drivers to access and have healthcare. In a profession that supposedly people make so much money in and all these other things. So and if you're an owner op versus a carrier versus I'm so sorry, my screen is messing up here. All right, here we go again. So the healthcare costs for drivers it is really unaffordable for most, just like it is for a lot of people in other sectors. Even for the drivers that work for larger carriers, that have a bigger spend and are able to get lower rates. It is even worse if you're an owner operator and you have to buy out there in the open market or use something like healthcare.gov. So this article does touch on the fact that there are some companies out there that are trying to fill the gap. You have ones like this Patexa Healthcare Solutions. They actually have something I think is really cool. They're called REDAs, and they're remote intelligent telehealth assistants. And they're putting these things in places like truck stops, truck or carrier terminals, hotels, and other places. Any place that there's one of these things, drivers get access 24/7 to a whole variety of medical services. Anything from getting prescriptions filled to, if they're sick on the road and they need to see someone and maybe get some medicine out there. And another company that is also out here trying to help, which I think is a really good thing. What this company does is a lot of companies out there really just more focused on insurance as a whole and don't tailor too much to specific industries. But that's Expedited Services. They actually have rolled out insurance coverage solutions that are directly designed for drivers. They say that they want to make the process as easy for drivers to navigate and for it to be as affordable as it can. Finally, I just want to
That's
say
great.
that all healthcare coverage is not the same. I want to touch on this a lot because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about healthcare coverage, no matter how affordable or easily accessible it is. And
Right.
and I would also say in industries kind of like trucking and stuff, they're busy, with doing things. They don't have a lot of time to go over stuff. They take people's word at a lot of things, and it's very screwed over. So
Yeah.
my point with that is if you're going looking for insurance, and like I said, right now it's open enrollment, and you don't know the difference of what an HMO or PPO is, or what an 80/20 versus a 60/40 plan is, then please, please, please try to find someone
Yes.
or do some research for a company that can really help you navigate the
Yeah.
waters for insurance coverages and get you the right coverages. Because I'll tell you what, one of the things that I learned very early on in my career, because I had a family, was insurances. Health insurance, dental, life insurance, casualty insurance, all these things. I wanted to know about, to know, hey, is this something I need? What does this cover? Know your deductibles, all these things. It's a very easy thing for you to get wrapped up into something that does not do things that you thought it would. So
Right.
just want to say, hey, everyone is having a struggle right now with healthcare, regardless of where you work at. It really is unaffordable. And I truly think that, we really do need to do something about it in this country. Almost every other country around the world has affordable insurance. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Preach.
Prescriptions cost next to
Yeah.
nothing. Medical services
Yeah.
cost next to nothing. So, but in the meantime, until we get that figured out, just make sure you all are doing your due diligence and making sure that you are getting the
Yeah,
right coverages, and just don't jump
absolutely.
into the waters and say, hey, insurance, that's all I really care about. So there you go. And I'll
Absolutely.
say once again, right now, November is open enrollment, I believe, until the end of the year. I'm not plugging anybody. I'm just saying that if you're looking for insurances right now, is usually the time for you guys and gals out there to do that. So moving on, or I should say moving on up, right? Like Georgia Weezy.
Moving on up.
I do. Oh man,
Yeah, bro, I'm old enough to know that one.
I was just watching a clip from that show on Facebook earlier today. It was, I mean, you know how he went. They were just a cut up, and it was both of them arguing over
All
something. I
day.
can't remember what
All
it was,
day.
but it had me freaking rolling. All right, yeah, Claudia. How do you say your last name, Claudia? Is it sounds like it's
Catlet.
hey,
Catlets.
you
Like
never
you
know.
letting
It,
the cat.
it,
Catlets,
it could
yeah.
be Calais. I mean, how people,
We could just
you know how people's names are today. Oh man. All right, so we have Claudia Catlett. She is in the industry, works for a logistics company. They are a brokerage and they own some assets, do a whole array of stuff. She can get into that here in a moment.
Yeah.
But we hooked up her and I on LinkedIn because she is one of the people out there taking the fight to the front door for all these fraudsters and scammers that we all know is just they're just
Yeah, baby.
obliterating our industry right now. And
Killing
we
it.
like to continue this series. We've had several people on before that
Yeah.
that deal with this from different avenues or aspects. Man, my brain is just glitching today. Jesus Lord. It's just from different aspects of the industry. So, continuing on with that, we are going ahead and let Claudia take over right after we roll this beautiful blue footage.
Ooh, I love that footage.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. All right, so the floor is yours. Go ahead and tell us about yourself, what you do, and how you're hitting this fraud stuff head on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so very much for having me on. I appreciate that. Um, so I work for like I checked with the boss. It's okay that I can say who I am. He said as long as you promise to be who you are, I can say who I work for. So I work for the family. I work for the Decker family, and we have a brokerage. So we work for US General Transportation, and we also have an asset side of our business. It's called ART Transport. Completely different MCs, technically, two completely different companies. However, I work for both of them. So when I talk about fraud, when I talk about insurance, when I talk about any of those things, I understand it from both sides. I understand claims from both sides. I understand the pain in the ass on the asset side, waiting for a brokerage to approve things. I understand the brokerage side, trying to get the asset side to do what they need to do. I get that. So that's where I am. The majority of my time, however, is spent with our brokerage. As you all know, are very, very well aware that freight fraud is, whew, now, it's up there, it's out there. And when I was hired on a couple years ago, my background is not in logistics, y'all. I've been in this for not even, it'll be 2 years in February. So
I
my
know the
experience,
Hunter and I were like, this lady has got the craziest background. We were just talking about that before you came on the show. Oh, I'm sorry to
From
interrupt you.
scuba diver instructor to scuba
yeah,
diving into fraud.
so let me just like give that little background. So I spent youngster, I spent a few years in the Marine Corps. Loved that, very forming. Very thankful for that opportunity and that time. Appreciative of my ability and opportunity to be able to serve our country. When I left that, came out, went to college, got in a motorcycle wreck a few years later. A few months later. I'm just got the one. It was a pretty traumatic thing. Kind of delayed me a little bit, but all things considered, I'm all well and good. And so from that, I finished college and I went to work in nonprofit. I worked in sales, did all of that. I kind of had an early midlife crisis in my 30s and just said peace out to the grown-up life. And became a scuba diving instructor. I lived in Thailand. I lived in Mexico. All the Like, it was a good life. And then COVID came and punched me in the face and said, "Oh, you don't get to travel anymore. You don't get to do all these fun things anymore." So here I am, back in went back to my old sales job, left that because it was toxic AF, and said I'm done with that, and was just kind of looking for things. My boss found me in a bar, hand of Jesus, that's exactly what happened. Um, he saw my profile on LinkedIn, saw I'm a Marine, he's a Marine, and said, "Oh, I'm gonna bookmark her because we're looking to hire some folks, but he didn't really have a position for me yet." True story, ran into him at a bar after the symphony, ran into him, and he approached me and the two people I was with and said, "I know this sounds really creepy and really weird, but my wife and I run a business. I just saw your name on LinkedIn, and if we're looking to hire some people if you're interested in an interview," and gave me his card. And that was the beginning of my journey into transportation. So I interviewed with him a couple of times, did not know what I was interviewing for, just interviewed. And it kind of told him the kind of stuff I wasn't willing to deal with at work. And he was like, "Cool, we don't like that either." And that was that. And he said, "We want to hire somebody to do claims." And so how I got involved in fraud and risk management is that I started at the claims side. I started on the back end, trying to solve the problems once they happen. And then I figured out, wait a minute, if we had done this, then we wouldn't be in this situation. If we hadn't had this carrier, if we checked into this carrier a little bit more, then I wouldn't be dealing with this claim today. So I kind of worked my way up from dealing with the problem to trying to get it, to nip it in the bud before it happens. So that's how I got in risk management and basically assigned myself a new job as risk management. So here we are almost 2 years later, and I am working on vetting carriers and dealing with double brokering and learning what all this stuff is, dealing with theft, and so that's how I got involved in transportation to begin with, and that's how I got involved in risk management. Dealing with carrier vetting was dealing with the backside of it first. The first thing I did was the very, very first thing I dealt with, I had a claim that it was a physical damage claim. So the truck ran into the building of my receiver. And I filed the claim, thought it wasn't going to be a big deal. I'm like, "Hey, carrier, this is what's happening." Connected my customer and my carrier to file a physical damage claim. Okay, I'm out. I'm done. That is not okay. It's not what happened. It turned out that truck wasn't insured. It wasn't listed on the policy. It was one of those double brokering super fun guys who didn't want to list all of his carriers, didn't want to list all of his trucks, didn't want to list all of his assets, that kind of thing. Got in a shouting match with him, figured out that wasn't the way to do things. So now I'm on the front end trying to say, okay, we don't want to allow carriers like this cat in our business. And so, so from the asset side, I understand it, and from the brokerage side, I understand it. So I'm doing both of those. And so whenever someone asks me about risk management and they're like, "But what about this? But what about that?" I understand there are legitimate things that can cause, on my asset side, I've got a debt, I've got a crash that wound up in a fatality that has nothing to do with anything that my driver did. But I've been fighting it for 3 years, trying to get this. So I understand things happen. So I've seen all these different types of things that are in the way things work. But also, I understand some things can be explained. But also, I got my Tim knows it. I call it my heebie-jeebie meter. I'm gonna tell you, when my heebie-jeebie meter is pinging, like there's something wrong. Like I literally have do not use carriers in my system, and the reason was my heebie-jeebie meter was going off. So, I'm a little to tell you, but I got some weird hairy feelings about this guy, and they don't make me feel good. So we're not gonna use him anymore. So so that's how I got to where I am, and I've had. On the brokerage side, you were talking before, about being a driver and understanding what that is. And so you have a lot more understanding from a broker side than what some people would because you have been a driver. I have an understanding on the brokerage side about what some people don't understand because I do run insurance for an asset side. I do work claims for an asset side. So I understand those things. I understand the way they work. Whenever I've got this morning, what I was dealing with tow companies today. Super fun. I had a carrier, I had an asset carrier on my brokerage side. A carrier had a tractor trailer stolen. Now it's in a tow company, tow yard in Florida. working with that guy, trying to get that asset released, trying to make sure all the paperwork is in place, trying to make sure that the tow company is paid. Tow companies, my word, why are we in the brokerage business anyway, y'all? Why don't we buy the tow trucks and just do the thing? Because my word, they can just bend us over. But that's a whole nother story. But getting these guys, I understand because I've been on the other side. I've been on the carrier side with my truck in a tow yard, and I understand what it takes to get it out. So when you have that, it doesn't matter what side. Who was talking about sides of the pancake? It was the guy that was on your last carrier e-carrier vetting or something. Was talking about
carrier check. Oh, Jared
he
Ross.
called it
Yeah.
yes, he called it a pancake something, like, right? So you both sides. So like understanding the pancake, understanding both sides of that, like, allows me to be more understanding, but it also allows me to understand where you come from. So my win of the week, I'm just going to throw this out here. My win of the week started out with a "Are you fucking kidding me?" of the week. Monday morning, I got in and I got an email that said, "Hey, we booked this load for you. We picked it up and we were 3 hours from delivery. They wanted to deliver the next morning. We did an overnight. We were getting ready to deliver it the next morning, 2 hours away. And when we showed up in the morning, we found out our tractor trailer was stolen." And this was my carrier's from Kentucky. And my carrier said, "I have looked on, the interwebs and discovered that my tractor trailer is in Florida." So my carrier did what they knew to do. They called their local authorities and filed a stolen truck claim. So here's the thing, guys. And I don't know if the majority of your listeners are brokers or are carriers or maybe a mix in between or whatever. But the thing is, there are a lot of people who don't know what to do when something like this happens. And I'm not saying this disrespectfully. I'm not saying this anything like this. This is what I have learned. People don't know what to do. So he called his local police department and said, "Hey, I've got my vehicle, my tractor trailer is stolen." Most law enforcement does not know what to do with that. They don't know how to deal with it. They treat it like a normal car theft versus a tractor trailer who's trying to steal cargo. So fortunately, this was on Monday morning. On Wednesday, the prior Wednesday, I had attended. I'm going to do a plug. Can I do a plug? I didn't ask you that. I'd attended a webinar by TAPA. What's it called? Transportation Asset Protection Association. I think that's right. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, something like that.
Oh no.
Anyway, they had done a webinar, and the webinar was put on by Kentucky, the Kentucky guys who were in charge of cargo claims in Kentucky. And they said, "Hey, let's connect, let's do the things, hey, don't forget how important this is." And they talked to me about things like that. And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Let me take down that guy's information." And I did, and I didn't think anything else about it. Monday morning, I had a tractor trailer stolen in Kentucky. So my carrier did what they were supposed to do. They called their local authorities. They reported it stolen. I immediately told them, "You need to contact your cargo insurance. You need to contact your regular insurance. And you also need to call this cat, Detective Spurlock." Y'all find him on the LinkedIn. He's there. He runs cargo claims for Kentucky, and this man knows his stuff, and he has connections in the community and across the country. I called him on Detective Spurlock. I listened to a webinar you did 3 days ago. I've got a load stolen out of your state, and it's in Florida right now. And now I don't know what else to do. What's next? I got the police report number that my carrier originally filed. He called that carrier. He got the contact information. He found out where the GPS was pinging for that vehicle. Within 2 hours, my cargo and his tractor trailer was recovered. Now, y'all, when I tell you that you need to know the people to contact for these things, I mean it. You need to know the people to contact for these things. And I contacted the insurance company, and let them know. They reached out. Like this was a completely conjointed. It was a group effort to make this happen. And if it had not been for Detective Spurlock in from the Kentucky State Police, I don't know how we could have gotten this done. That we did. We got our load recovered. Our driver he's been flown down to Florida. He's picking up the tractor trailer today, and he's going to deliver that load. Now look, the seal was broken. We know there was some pilferage. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with our cargo in the end, but we know at a minimum a majority of it is there. And we know where that is, and we got it because of connections we made in the logistics industry. We know that we got it because we knew who to call. And when I'm telling you guys, like carriers, owner operators, brokerage guys, whenever you have something stolen, do not bullshit the other people involved. Are you hearing me? Where's my camera? I don't even know where my camera is. Look, don't bullshit the people that are involved. Where is it? Is it here? Where's the hole? Here's the hole. Listen, y'all. Listen. You gotta let them know. Because here's the thing. If that carrier had been like, oh, my driver is asleep, oh, whatever, and been and done the runaround that we all know, you know when carriers are BSing you about where their drivers are. Because they don't know, they can't find them, whether they've double brokered the load or whatever. They're bullshitting some stuff. This carrier immediately was like, hey, this is what happened. They did not know the people to call. I did. I've used their carrier. I've used their cargo insurance before. I know Travelers, like I'm just going to tell you right now, Travelers has a theft squad. Like legit, like they have people on staff. That's all they do is deal with cargo theft. U.S. Marine also is working on having that. So if you have either of those two insurers that are dealing with your cargo, you have someone literally at your fingertips who that is all they do. They build those relationships and they work and they get your stuff back. Like they are the ones who you need to call immediately.
And I'm glad you were saying that specifically, Claudia, about knowing who to call, because we through the guests we've had on the show, we've obviously had people on that do this stuff, and say, hey, I'm here to help you. But I'll tell you that with as prevalent as this is in the industry, and as many people as there are that deal with this stuff, you're right. A lot of carriers, brokers, they really don't know who to contact beyond possibly insurance companies. And a majority of these insurance companies, they're also in a lot of ways just like cops, the police. They really don't know how to deal with it. To them, it's just freight that's going to be gone, and a claim needs to be filed against it. They're really not concerned much with recovery of the asset. They're more concerned with filing a claim. I would think that insurance companies, especially, what they want to do is, hey, instead of paying this claim out, it'd obviously be cheaper to maybe pay a couple of people $2,000. Find it. Track this stuff down, and let's just avoid this situation all the way. Hunter, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no. So, Claudia, I want to definitely touch on just from your experiences with these cargo theft rings, coming to light. They're huge. And there's this one story, I know we talked about it previously, but I don't know if you heard about it, but recently in Chicago, where they busted that warehouse from stealing from BNSF with like all the Nikes and toys. They said, it's had more than $3 million worth of Nikes. And the only reason they got caught is because they were stealing from a trailer yard. And they said it's just the tip of the iceberg. So like that is wild. Like I had my window broke in like 2 months ago in my apartment complex, and I really didn't know who to call. I called the cops, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll come by and fingerprint it." I haven't heard back from them since, but when it comes to stuff like that, did you have to go a different route with what kind of motive would be?
So the immediate thing that I did when I found out about this particular theft was I immediately reached out to the carrier, because I, as a brokerage, and this is one thing, side note, like I don't want to get too super distracted, but as a brokerage, we don't just, I don't mean that to be tacky, but we don't just accept the certificate of insurance that the carrier sends to your onboarding
Oh
agency.
yeah.
Like some
No, I'm a
companies
big
use like,
fan of your. I forget what you call it, but the gut feeling. Like if it looks like a duck,
yeah,
sounds like a duck, it's probably a
right.
duck. Yeah.
Exactly. So RMIS, highway, my carrier packets, all of them will get COI sent to them by the carrier, right? But here's
Right.
the situation. This is because I'm the insurance gal. This is what I'm going to tell you. So let's say that a carrier onboards in February. Their renewal isn't until October. So
Right.
if I'm a broker and I log on, I let them come into my system in July. As far as that onboarding service is concerned, that certificate is still going until October. So they're not going to do any rechecks for that because what they have lasts until October. But if that carrier has lapsed in payment or if they've done something that refuses their insurance, they might not know. That onboarding service might not know. So what we do a double check on our side. So every carrier that we set up, we send out a certificate of insurance request for a certificate under our name. Does that do a whole lot? I don't know. But what it does do, that some people are like, well, it doesn't provide you any protection. Why are you concerned if you're on a certificate? Because instead of relying on that certificate that came in February or March, we now know we can call and say, hey, they've lapsed in payment. They don't have coverage. Pull that truck. We're not going to let them load our vehicle. We're not going to let them load our cargo. So that has saved us several times just being able to do that due diligence and ask for a certificate of insurance in our name. That doesn't sound like a lot. We actually have one person who is solely dedicated to carrier compliance in our company. I understand not every carrier has the ability or every brokerage has the ability to have that. However, if you have that, if you have the ability, that's something that I strongly encourage you to consider doing.
I am.
Secondly, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that's another fantastic talking point, Claudia. You know, I don't think that a lot of carriers understand that part of the reason of asking for a certificate of insurance with them on it, with you on it, is for that exact reason, to make sure
Hmm.
that they are
Yeah,
still insured, that they have the coverage that they say they have.
right.
I actually had an incident not too long ago that it happened within such a short amount of time that even RMIS didn't catch it because that's who we use.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
took the reefer load, and the carrier, for the last time we used him, he had reefer
Hmm.
coverage. He had to
Hmm.
go back to RMIS to like update a few things. Everything was good.
Hmm.
Just so happened his reefer shut down, and there ended up being a claim. We go to file on the insurance, and the insurance comes like, "Oh no, he canceled that coverage like 5 days ago."
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
can't say it was our fault because, like I said, we use RMIS, is
Yeah.
our barrier to try to help us with that. So,
Hmm.
but really good point you bring up because, especially with, I think, a lot of these scammers I've seen now that they're using insurances as part of their fraud.
Right.
They're doctoring them up, putting fake carriers' names on there,
Hmm.
just adding whatever
Yeah.
brand of coverage needs to be
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
there's, I think, brokers out there or even
Yeah.
shippers. If you are asking for a certificate of insurance, and most of them require this, make sure that
Hmm.
it's coming from the insurance company
From
themselves.
the insurance company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
gonna tell you,
I
every
will not
insurance
accept it
company,
if it comes from the
yeah,
carrier.
every insurance company, they have a signature in for their email. So make sure that even in the signature that it matches the information that's on the COI.
Yeah.
Make sure the number
Yeah.
matches and the name, and all this.
Yeah.
It's the small details like that that really
Yeah.
matter. But, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
if someone is not properly insured, Claudia, you
Hmm.
obviously can talk on this. You are going to
Hmm.
have a very, very shitty several days trying to
Yeah.
explain that to a lot of very upset people and get that set on the track for it to get taken
Yeah.
care of. So, man, really,
Yeah.
really good one there too, Claudia.
Yeah. Absolutely. And guys, like, look, that's going to be something that's going to fall on you. Like, if you're a brokerage, like, I'm a broker, right? Like, I work both sides, but like, as the brokerage side of my business, if my carrier doesn't pick up that claim, that's going to fall on me. Now, again, like, now going back to risk management on the front end, what does your contract say? How does that whole, are you held liable for claims? Are you not? That's a whole different kind of another aspect of it. But when it all comes down to it, is that carrier properly insured? It comes down to that. Is that carrier properly insured? And the more you do to make sure that that carrier is properly insured, the better you are off. And P.S. heads up, if a carrier does not uh, uh, participate, if they don't respond to a claim, most insurance policies will deny the policy because the insured is not participating or isn't responding. That is a reason for carriers to not, it is a reason for insurance carriers or producers to not
That's
fulfill a
progressive.
policy.
That's
Don't even
progressive.
get me started,
Favorite
bro.
move
Like,
right
I don't
there.
have enough drink in me
Oh,
to tell you what I feel about
my
progressive.
God. That's different. I literally,
There
man,
is
you
not
have
enough
that.
alcohol in this building, and I am literally in a bar. I cannot tell you enough about that. I
Oh,
can't.
man.
I will not go down that
Okay.
road. But the moral of that story is just making sure that your carriers are properly insured. So we do the due diligence to make sure that we go back and get a COI for every one of our carriers. And heads up, anybody who has a brokerage that's large enough. I don't know about you guys. I'm not trying to air dirty laundry, but look, there are carriers who absolutely will. Who, I mean, as brokers, we onboard lots of new carriers. I don't know about y'all, but we do. Like, I would love to use the same carriers regularly all the time, but that is just, our business is too large for me to say that I'm using 5 carriers for the rest of my life. That shit ain't happening. And as much as I have this whole idea in my head of what I want claims to look like, what I want my insurance and my vetting to look like, I have to recognize that I'm not the only person that's in my building. I'm the extreme risk person, right? I'm the risk averse person. And then I've got my VP of ops who is completely opposite of me. Completely opposite of me. And so we fight regularly. We constantly fight, but in a good way, right? Like, I respect the hell out of that man, and he respects me. I mean, he says he does. I think he does. I'm pretty sure he does. We try to meet in the middle. My boss says it's a good problem to have because both of us are doing our absolute best to protect our company. I'm trying to mitigate us from risk. He's trying to help us grow. So somewhere in the middle, we try to find this balance. Sometimes we hit it right on, and sometimes we miss. It's part of it. But we do the best that we can to mitigate it and do what we can. So making sure your carrier is a carrier, making sure your carrier is not doing brokering, making sure your carrier is insured. These are all things that you can do. There are all kinds of carrier vetting processes that are out there for you guys. Again, not knowing whether or not the majority of your audience is a broker or carrier side of it, kind of,
They're a mix of
both
both.
sides are going to deal with both things, right? So on the carrier side, guys, look, carrier side, I'm talking to carriers. You know good and damn well if that load is too good to be true, it probably is. Are you running the credit check on that goes? I'm not telling you have to put out money for everything, but for real, y'all. Like, look, if they're willing to pay double of what a regular load
Your Google Home isn't
and
set
that
up
shit
yet.
ain't like
Get started. Download the Google Home app.
What is that noise? Is that me?
Sorry.
What's happening?
Sorry.
Yay! All right.
Perimeter breach.
If that load is willing to pay double or like 1.5 times what it normally should, and it's not a pickup immediately, and it's not some weird ass load, why are they willing to do that? I'm not trying to burst your bubble. I'm just saying, for real, let's get real about what's happening in freight today. So let's be aware. Let's look at that. Let's double check. I was listening to some of your previous podcasts when you were carrier how to say the carrier vetting
Carrier
guy.
check.
E-carrier check. He's that whole idea about like being able to look at brokers and see who they are and see what they're doing. I'm like, look, you want to be able to look back at who you're dealing with and know, should I do business with this guy? If a bunch of other people are shady with him and some stolen MCs, y'all, hand to Jesus. Ooh, I look bad. All right. So anyway, all right. This is what happened today. Hand to Jesus this happened. I called a
Where are
carrier.
you from, Claudia? Hold on. Where were you raised pretty much?
Arkansas.
I knew you had to be a Southerner. I knew it. As soon as you said hand to God, I was like, oh my God. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So this happened. I called this carrier. I had a guy message me. So we use Highway for our carrier onboarding vetting, right, on the brokerage side. And I had this email come from, do y'all know about the 30 North Gold in Sheridan, Wyoming? Y'all know about that address? I'm going to blast it. Typey this. Whoever does the typey things in this, y'all typey this. 30 North Gold comma, space, Sheridan, Wyoming. If you got anybody in your system, if you got anybody who emails you, if you got anybody who calls you, who got that email, that mailing, that address on their stuff, don't do no damn business with them. Y'all hear me? Don't do any business with, where's my camera? Is it here? Don't do any business with them people. Listen to me. You can Google search them for 30 North Gold. Gould.
Sheridan, Wyoming.
Sheridan, Wyoming. There is literally news articles about how many scams come out of that building. Y'all, like, I am not bullshitting. Like, so help me, there are. So what happened earlier today, true story, this happened earlier today. I got an email from one of my, from a carrier that was trying to onboard and said, hey, I'm trying to onboard with you, but blah, blah, blah. And the bottom of his email signature had this address in it. Now, y'all, I'm going to tell you something. I don't have nothing to do with this damn address. I will burn you at the stake if you were from this address. I don't bullshit with this address because there is nothing but scammers out of it.
Some of you don't work at Gypsy Home.
Virtual office. Like, look, if you look at the front of it, it says like worldwide office or something like that. It used to not say that. I don't remember what it says. They've updated that since the last time I Google checked that. But anyway, this is literally known to be a scamming place. Like if you, there's a news article from 2021 about that yet another scam coming from 30 North Gold. So this place is legit. Like, I don't know what they say they do or whatever. But anyway, I got an email from the bottom of this. So I called my carrier. He's a single box truck owner. He's had his MC for 2 years. Clean record, ain't nothing wrong with him. I called him. I'm like, hey man, somebody's trying to onboard you from Highway and they're using this weird email address. It's not your email address. I'm afraid your MC got stolen. Y'all, this man said to me, you know what he said to me? He said, I didn't know anybody could steal my MC. He didn't know his MC could be stolen, y'all. He
now he
didn't
knows.
know. And I said, look, I said, listen, what's going to happen is like this dude is trying to get your information. Now he's got all of your information. He's got access to sign you up with Highway. I said, you need to get with your factoring company. You need to make sure that all the loads that come through there with your name on it are actually loads that you hauled. You're a single owner operator. You're trying to be more efficient by using a dispatching service. I ain't mad at you for it. You do what you do. But here's the thing. This guy is not the one. Whoever this guy is, I don't know where he's from, but he ain't the one for you. Because I'm telling you right now, I won't have anything to do with any of these businesses. Anybody who's got to do with him. He was emailing me from some other MC about another MC and talking about this cat. Like,
Claudia, I have a feeling I found the culprit here. Wyoming, however you pronounce this.
mm-hmm.
Can you see? And then at the bottom, at the review, it said, they enabled me to establish a company in America at an affordable price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
cheap MC numbers, maybe.
Yeah.
So I want to talk on this one too. I'll tell you, a friend of mine that runs a truck. He actually has his address on his on all his documents as a virtual office in Houston. And when he went to go get set up with us, like we denied him because that same address has, I think it was like 40 or 50 carriers attached to it, and that was a red flag. Obviously, I was able to get it overridden because I knew the guy and we were able to provide like documentation and shit. But that's becoming a thing, and I will say that it's another thing that is unfortunate for a lot of carriers and even some brokers, because a lot of people operate their business, carriers out of their house, really, and brokers out of their house. And you want yourself to look like an actual business. You know what I mean? So, having an address with maybe a suite number or something like that, or, P.O. box, I think, it adds a little bit more credibility. But now it's being used as the number one tool to commit fraud. Just like that review said, allowed me to set up a company in America for a really cheap price. And that's exactly what they're doing. These virtual offices and these virtual mailboxes, they don't give a shit where the money comes from. I mean, it on a complete different note, it's kind of sad to think that, could you imagine how many other criminal activities are probably ran through these things in other industries?
I'm confident there are many more, many more, particularly this address, but yeah.
But I mean, the point is That's another thing, another red flag that I don't
Yeah.
think that a lot of folks will pay attention to, especially
Yeah.
the brokers.
Yeah.
Some can see that address and they don't. They don't use things like highway or
Hmm.
freight guard or whatever. You know what I mean? Careful
Yeah.
one to check that address. And search it and see,
Yeah.
hey, how many other people are out there? So are there any
Yeah.
reports from carriers at this address, so forth and so on. So, man, look, Claudia, you're just dropping knowledge bombs. I mean, that's like bomb
Yeah.
number 28. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've lost count at this point.
Yeah. 30 North Gold ain't the place, y'all. I'm gonna tell you right now. I won't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Like, no, that ain't happening. So 30 North Gold. So the point is, I call this carrier and like a single dude. His name is Vincent. I'm like, Vincent, I feel like you're a good guy. Like, you sound like you're from the South. Like, I'm not trying to like. Look, here's the thing. Don't do this. You need to check your finances. You need to check everything. Make sure this cat's good. Because if he's got all your information, he can book loads under your name. He may be sending those loads out to somebody else. Now, what you're clean and see is now going to get tarnished. And it's hard as hell to get that back after you've done that. After somebody ruins your name, it's really, really, really hard to fix it. So, this is what you need to do. So anyway, I sent him an email, I sent him a link, I sent him a stuff. I'm like, hey, look, here's the dude. If y'all know anybody who's like a legit dispatcher, and I know, look, people in the industry, there's a lot of shit talking about dispatchers. So there are a lot of single owner operator guys who want to have a legitimate dispatcher working for them. They don't want to sign on to another, they don't want to lease onto a carrier, but they just want somebody to help them get some loads booked. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. There are good dispatchers out there. I just don't know of any solid ones to be able to give a really good reference to. I don't have my neighbor who I know. You know what I mean? But if you guys know, that might be a thing to be able to talk to people about. It's like, hey, this is a legit dispatcher. I know that they don't do their carriers dirty. They don't double broker. They're not stealing your information to do anything else. But that's something out there. But as carriers, you want to be aware of what loads you're booking. You want to be aware of who you're booking with. Are you booking with and y'all? Ain't none of y'all read them damn contracts. Not a single one of you read them damn contracts. I'm gonna tell you for sure because I hear you. I hear you talking at the end. That wasn't look. Yes, it was. Yes, it was in the contract, but you just clicky all the way through and you didn't know what it said. I'm not telling you have to read everything, but by gosh, you need to read the claims part. You need to read the claims and insurance part of every contract that you sign. And you're probably not going to do it. I know you're probably not going to, but if shit hits the fan, that's probably the first thing you need to check. It's the insurance and claims part of that contract, whenever you sign it. And, I'm not trying to be, I feel like I'm always a negative Nancy because of the shit that I've seen in the industry. It just in a couple of years that I've been in it. But I'm telling you, you just need to be aware. I don't give people the benefit of the doubt anymore. I can't afford to because I need to protect my company. I had one guy who really gave me a hard time. He was a single owner operator, and he's like, look, if you put this freight guard on me, it's going to ruin my business. I said, you hear me? If you had gotten in an accident and you were uninsured and I didn't have a contract with you, you would have put 60 people out of business because the lawsuit that I would have gotten from you, if you had killed somebody, would have shut my business down. And people don't take that to heart. They don't think about it. They're like, oh, it's a good double broker. Listen, just because somebody will pay the carrier does not mean they are good. Y'all
Hold
hear
on.
me?
I want to quote Tim Bannon when he commented on one of my stuff. This one of my trusted carriers, buddy. This good carrier, buddy. I good double
Yeah.
broker.
Mhm. Yeah, you're a good double broker. Yeah. Look, that ain't gonna help me if you get in a damn accident and kill somebody and everybody gets sued. And I know, it's negative Nancy, it's wet blanket, it's all the things, it's a shitty part of the business, but it is what it is. Reptile, is it called reptile? I call them lizard. The reptilian verdicts. Y'all know good and damn well that Werner verdict is some bullshit. That $100 million for some. Are you kidding? Unlicensed driver out on other things cross the road and hit that Werner truck, and somehow now they're on the hook for $100 million. Y'all don't think that only happens to big carriers. Do not think that at all. Don't be misillusioned. Misillusioned, disillusioned. What's that word?
Disillusioned up there.
Disillusioned. Don't be disillusioned. Don't think that they're not going to shut your company down. I have a fellow carrier here in Arkansas who was sued because they here's the best part. All they did was loan a trailer. They loaned a trailer to another carrier who got in an accident, and that accident killed somebody. And when that happened, that family sued everybody involved. They sued the brokerage, they sued the carrier who was actually hauling it, they sued, I don't even know about the shipper part, but they also sued the guy who loaned the trailer, and it shut his asset side of his business down. They maxed out his insurance and shut the rest of it down. Y'all, I am not bullshitting. Double brokering is a huge, huge, huge burden on our company. You think as long as I get paid for my line haul, it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not fine at all. Your insurance rates are going up because of this shit. Carriers, hey, guess what? Brokerages, I don't know about you, but my brokerage has started to get astronomical numbers of requests on insurance. Now, out the wazoo, I've got one guy who was like, one customer for a potential customer for one of my account managers said, we need $10 million in general liability. That literally doubles my insurance for the year. I can't afford that. They won't budge on it, and they won't budge on it because of these bullshit claims that are happening like this. And until we get some tort reform, then we don't get you started on all that stuff. But the point is, like, double brokering is hurting our business, y'all. It's hurting our business all the way. So you need to be aware. We need to be aware as carriers. We need to be aware as brokers. Do your vetting. Check your carriers. You got the Bannon report out there. Hey, Tim. I see you, boo. I see you. You got the Bannon report out there to be able to check stuff. You've got Highway. There are lots of services that are out there that are there to help you to work through your carrier vetting, whatever that guy's name.
Carrier check. I was just about to drop it. Oh,
why can't I remember that? Anyway, carrier check. These guys, there are loads of guys out there who can tell you, carriers, you're not taking a load from another carrier. If that MC is only carrier MC, don't take a load from them. They're supposed to be brokering loads to you, bro. Like, that's not the way it works. Come on now.
I want to say something to stop. I wouldn't say stop doing, but stop being frivolous or I don't know. I guess play frivolous is buying and selling MCs. That is something that is a huge problem with the scam and the fraudsters. I mean, it really is. They're buying other people's MCs, obviously, and they're not changing all the information behind it. So they're doing illegal things, booking lows, not paying carriers if it's a broker MC, doing all this illegal shit, and then it still falls back on the other person because they don't do their due diligence to make sure everything was taken out of their name. All these things were properly transferred over, and they don't do a check into the people themselves. I talked to one guy, and he even went as far as saying, if you're talking about selling any business to anyone, one of the first things you should do is a background check and a credit check on that person.
There you go. That's good information. But here's the thing: these cats are trying to get out of the business. They're like, look, hey, I've got a clean carrier, whatever. The industry's in the tank right now. I'm not gonna make any money on this. I'm gonna go ahead and sell my MC, and they're not gonna sell their MC to anybody legit right now because anybody legit can't fucking afford it. And I'm not trying to be shitty, but it's the way it is. Who can afford it? Shady folks. Shady folks who are just trying to grab that MC to do what they can, do as much damage as they can with it during the amount of time until they get caught. And so, you want to put things in place. You want to put things in place like how long has a carrier been in the business? Is that insurance there? Is it, it's a pain in the ass, and I know it. And don't think that I don't fight my own battles inside my own company about it. Okay. I got load coordinators who are like, this insurance hasn't come through yet. I still want to load them. No, we're not going to load them until I get the COI, until we confirm they have insurance. Y'all, I recognize the needs of the business and the needs to pick up. I understand there's a balance to be had with that, and there's a risk to be had. But guys, hear me when I say you need to do your diligence on your carriers. Yes, it's absolutely better to do business with people you've been in business with for a long damn time, that you've known forever and whatever. And I get that, and I love it, and I would love to do that. But we all recognize if you're in the business, actually actively working it, you understand that it doesn't all get to play that way. It's not all roses, and you don't get to do it exactly the way you wish that you could in the best way possible. Some days you get a customer call you up. I'm sure both of you have had customers call you last minute. Hey, I've got this load. It's a hot load. Hey, I need to do da da da. And now you're on fire trying to get that load booked. Do you have that solid guy that you can call? Hey, great if you do. But if you don't, and you're still not trying to fail your customer, what are you doing? Are you willing to make exceptions on that? I don't know. I can't make that call for you, but what I can tell you is there are some very basic things you need to check with that carrier before you put them on it, especially if you don't know them. And the way I look at it, my company is a family-owned company, y'all. I don't work for a big corporation that can take millions in losses. That's not what I do. I work for a family-owned business, and I take that to heart. And my company knows that. I know that when we take a risk on a load, I am risking Miss Margaret and Mr. Rogers' retirement. That is exactly what I am doing. And I take it very fucking seriously. I'm about it. If I'm not willing to trust that person with $100,000 of my own money, why on earth would I be willing to give them my load that could be up to $100,000 and I don't know them? You better do some damn double checking before you put them on that load. That's the way I look at it. It's not for everybody, y'all. I get it. I understand it. But I'm telling you right now, that's how, when I look at it and people hit, my boss calls it passionate. He politely calls it passionate because I'm either crying or I'm cussing. It's one way or the other. And you might get both. It depends on the day. You might get both in the same day. You might get both in the same conversation. But I mean it when I'm with it.
You got the fire. Got a little fire in you. That's all.
Look, here's the thing. Like, I want you to be honest with me. Don't call me and tell me that you talked to Mr. Roger because he's been out of day-to-day operations for years. Don't call me and tell me that Miss Margaret's expecting your call because you know damn good and well you just found her name on Carrier 411 or whatever the hell that is. She ain't talking to you. You talk to me.
I just saw Miss Margaret
talk
on
to
the
her.
front porch drinking margarita.
I'm telling you right now. Listen, so I'm just saying there is so much to be done on the front end of checking out for a carrier, and I understand people are calling and they're impatient, all these things, but if someone gets shitty with you on the phone, like cranky, mean as fuck, right away, what do you think that person, do you want to do business with that person? I don't. Like, look, if I'm going to get mean and shitty with you, it's going to be because you gave me a reason, not just because I picked up the phone and said, hey, what's your MC? I mean, that's kind of basics, right? Like, if you're going to get sideways with me from the beginning because I'm trying to vet some information, then I got no business doing business with you. I call people all the time. My load coordinator called me. Well, I told them that I was going to something. You want to be on my call? This is Janet. Janet, wave. All these people on the interwebs are looking at you. I just wanted to hug you. Anyway, my boo works here, so I call the service. My bad. Anyway, they all said hi, Janet. Anyway, but the moral of, what was I saying? Anyway, so you want to check these guys out whenever they give you a call, right? If they're going to call you and get shitty with you sideways immediately, what's going on? Why are they doing that, right? If someone's going to offer you a stupid amount of money for a load that you know damn good and well is 3 days out and they have plenty of time to cover it with somebody who's actually making a normal amount of money on it, something's going weird with that load. Okay, if you're a carrier and you do get double brokered, what do you need to do? Look at that bill of lading. Call somebody. I had a guy who called me. Somebody used his MC, doctored the PODs and sent them in to his factoring company, sent them in to other guys' factoring company. I got bills from both of them. The original carrier who had his MC stolen said to me, he said, what was I supposed to do when I got PODs that I didn't haul? Why would you send them into your factoring company? You just gonna cash any check that gets sent to you and you don't even know what it's about? I said, why wouldn't you call? My name is literally at the top of it. My logo and name is at the very top of that BOL. Why on earth wouldn't you call the broker and say, hey, I didn't haul this load, but somehow it got sent into my factoring company? And he admitted to me, I was just trying to grab that money. That's not okay with me, bro. That's wrong. He's like, what else was I supposed to do? Call me. That's what you were supposed to do, my friend. Call me. Pick up the phone and call me. Sending in, I said, why on earth would you send in an invoice for a load you didn't haul? I was just trying to grab that money. Well, I'm glad you were honest with me on that, but bro, like, you weren't honest to begin with. That's not the way this shit works. You don't get to do that. And so I mean, y'all, are BOLs coming through that don't have your name on it? Like, what's happening? What's going on? Check this out. Do you think that you're a carrier who got double brokered? Because if you are, you need to reach out to that brokerage immediately. Here are some signs to look for. If you're a carrier and you got booked on a load, first of all, the price of the load. That's the very, 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 very first thing you need to look at. Is it reasonable and within market? If it's within market, if it's an outstanding rate, is it because it's a short notice pickup? Because that makes sense, right? You know as well as I do. You get a short call and a load, now like, hey, the checkbook's open. I just need this load done. Fine, no problem. Those things absolutely do happen, and that's legitimate. That if you got something 3 days out that's paying a 1.5 or 2 times what it normally should, you need to double check that, bro. Find out what's going on. Why is that happening? And then if you do think that you got double brokered, the immediate thing that you need to do is call the broker call whoever you see on that list and make sure that you are supposed to be taking that load. Here's another thing. If you take a load, you'd have no reason to believe that you've been double brokered, and all of a sudden, 2 hours, 3 hours before delivery, oh, the warehouse is full. Now you need to go to this random undescript warehouse that's shady as fuck over in Ontario, California. Why? Why did that happen?
I know that it's, but some of those carriers, they do that. They just want to get that shit off their truck. They don't even think about it. But that's
Yeah,
another one that's
they don't
going
care.
on. That's
So
like the
going
number
ahead,
one
you ain't gonna
problem.
get no gas money for that. Go ahead. You took that load from New York to California. You think anybody's gonna pay you that damn gas money? No. No, they're not. And then the good guy, the guy who got his MC, the carrier who got his MC stolen, is gonna get bent over it. The the broker who got their MC stolen is gonna get like. I mean, you never know like where all that's gonna fall. That's where all this transportation fraud comes from, and that's why I get so crazy about it. People like prices of this, that, and the other. Yeah, that's because people stealing our shit, y'all. And they're putting in, and the prices are eventually going to come down to us, the consumer. And that's where it is. So be aware, like if you get a last minute change to, especially if it's to a random warehouse and they're like, oh, that needs to be cross-loaded or whatever, there's something shady going on there, y'all. I'm telling you right now, there was something shady happening. So make sure you check with all that stuff. Get everything in writing. Get that stuff. Don't just take somebody's word on the phone. Get it in writing. Find out what's going on. And then go from there. I mean, that's the best that you can do. And, I've been in those positions. I've been on the asset side and had stuff happen. I've been on the brokerage side and had stuff happen. Y'all, it sucks all the way around. And ain't nobody trying to, none of us are trying to get messed over on this. You know what I mean? Like, let's just do our best, do our due diligence and try and get the things happening. Listen, if you're like, hey, I think this might have happened to me. I don't know. Send me a message. You got my LinkedIn? Like, I'm Claudia Catlett on the LinkedIn. Like, I work for General Transportation. You should be able to find me. I'm tagged on the thingy doos on this, stringy doo thing, whatever. Whatever that is, hit
That's
me
your
up.
new name.
Like, I have no
Here, thingy doos. Here's our thingy do for tonight.
the thingy doos, the thingy doos on the interwebs.
On the interweb.
Find me, on the interwebs. Hit me up on the interwebs. If you want some help trying to dig into that, I'll be happy to help you dig into it. I don't care. Here's the thing. Y'all know as well as I do, this industry is big enough. Everybody got freight, right? Helping one person out is not going to ruin my business or shut my company down. Let me try to help you. I will be happy to try to help you. My president has a heart for carriers. He's set up a company, a website, trucking101.net. I should have double checked that before I got on here. I'm pretty confident it's called trucking101.net. Let me do the thing on the interwebs and make sure that's right. Trucking 101. Yeah, that's it. So if you go to trucking101.net, there's a this is for you carriers now. You can go on there. Single owner operator, they got a fuel card thing, some other stuff, blah blah blah. I'm not even worried about that. But there's a thing called where is it on there? It's called Carrier Shield is coming soon. If you scroll down a little bit into that, it's basically intent of that is going to be like Carrier 411, but for brokers. So carriers can go on it and rate brokers and, make fraud reports against brokers and that kind of deal. That's going to be free to people. But there's a thing called load check. If you go on trucking101.net and you go to the place called load check, there's a place for MC lookup. Someone calls you about a load, put their MC in this. It will tell you if that MC is a carrier MC. It just scrapes information from FMCSA. It's nothing fancy. But you can go, like if you go to load check, see if there at the top it says load check. Yeah, that MC lookup. You can click on that and it'll tell you if that brokerage, you can put in your Synergy brokerage. It's going to tell you if that comes back as a brokerage MC, and you can go ahead and book a load from them. If you put in a carrier MC, it's going to tell you, hey, that's a carrier. They should not be brokering out loads. So it'll tell you that information. So you can see there, doing business as entity, and that's a broker. So that entity is always going to pop up and let you know if you're dealing with a broker, if you're dealing with a carrier. That's at least one first step that you can take. That phone number is on there. That's the phone number that's listed with FMCSA. If somebody's calling you from a different number, go ahead and call that number back and make sure that whoever you're talking to is allowed to book a load. Because sometimes it's somebody who's stolen that information. They might be calling you from a legitimate brokerage, but the phone number that's on there isn't the phone number that's legitimate and that's hooked up with FMCSA. So there are a few things that you can do to check on the front side of that.
Hey, who's the one you said?
Who
Who's the one you said set that up?
That's my president, the president
who set that
of our
website
company,
up?
Jason Decker.
We gotta have him on the show. Claudia, why are you hiding people from us? We gotta have him on the show.
Right over there. He's like 4 drinks in, bro. Like for another day to get in. I will be happy. Awesome. I'm sure he would be happy to be in. He's been on. We've got there's a trucker. Her name is Becca, Big Trucker, Big Rig Becca, Big Trucker Becca, something like that.
I don't know.
Anyway, she's on YouTube. She's a carrier, and she's a owner operator. She's signed on with our asset company. She runs a flatbed truck, so she's got a big following. We're hooked up and in Lincoln friends with the guy who does Mother Trucker. I think his name's Alex, who does Mother Trucker. So he's definitely done podcasts in the past, and I'm sure he'd be happy to get on and talk with you. But this Trucking 101 is, I'm telling you, it shows his true heart, because his true heart is for carriers and owner operators. Like brokerage is the thing that we do. His heart is in carriers. Like I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I go looking for him up in his office. He's not there. He's down on the floor on the asset side booking loads. He ain't care. Like that's what he'd rather do. He'd be much happier doing that than other things. So the other part of the business stuff he has to do in order to get to do the fun stuff of being a booking loads and be on the asset side. But trucking101.net, there are loads as a broker. There are many different vetting companies that you can use. You can use Highway. Highway is kind of new to the game, but they are very deep in what they do, very in depth. And I found that they have been listening to us. Like at first there were some things they didn't have capabilities of when they first came on. And those of us who were users were like, hey, we could really use this. We would like to use this. We would like to have this. And they're showing that. They're doing that. So they're responding to the requests of their users. And I appreciate that. I'm not going to lie. It's not cheap. Highway ain't cheap. RMIS ain't cheap. My carrier package is less. Carrier 411 is less. There are lots of things, but y'all, Carrier 401 is not so expensive that you can't use it. Get on it and use it. And I saw my carrier vetting guy, why can't I come up with his name? The same guy who was on already. His prices are not out of this world. They're reasonable. And not only that, you don't have to sign a contract with him. He does month to month. Give him a test drive. See what it is, test his ability to help you onboard and vet carrier, or at least vet carriers, or he link up with shippers and that kind of thing. Take them for a test drive. If you don't have to sign a contract with them, by all means, check them out and see what's good and find out what's out there. But Tim Bannon report is out there. I'm of course a fan favorite. Tim Bannon report. I knew him before it was Tim Bannon report, even out there. He's got a passion for what he does and trying to shut down the bad guys. his history is very unique in how he got involved in it. He's that guy that, like, it doesn't matter what he's into, he goes all the way. And so he's all the way into this. And so he's got a heart for it and wants to help transportation be better. And that's what it's about, right? We just want to have people be better and do the best that we can with our industry and what we can do. Okay. So can you get me a box, please? Thank you. So anyway, he was just letting me know that the rest of my crew asked for the tag. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I could shoot the shit about this all night, y'all. But if there is any questions that someone has, any follow-ups anybody has, like, please let me know. I feel like I've just completely hijacked this whole conversation, just talked the whole time and not let y'all talk at all. But my bad, sorry.
No, that it's absolutely right. It's great to have people on that are passionate about what they do, and then that comes through and just hearing you talk. It's all about knowledge and and sharing information. That's what I like to do on my LinkedIn and my Facebook group. That's what the show is about. It is getting people together outside the office, getting them out of their little comfort zone, and just like we said, shooting the shit, talking shop, and spreading valuable information and keeping people, especially things like this fraud and scam, because it's constantly evolving. Every day there's a new app. I'm actually going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to talk about a fuel scam that I ran across. So I mean, it's crazy. It's not. It's every part of the industry. And unfortunately, every part of the carriers are being touched by it. So but Claudia, we appreciate having you on. We're going to just do a quick sponsor break and then roll out. So you can stick with us through that, or you can chunk the deuces, as I say. And
all right.
Definitely want to have you back on, Claudia, like for sure.
Absolutely. Let's do a thing. Let me get Jason linked up with you, and let's do a thing with that for sure. I'm gonna dip out and go ahead and let him know, hey, they want to have you on too.
Awesome.
More so to talk about trucking 101 and that kind of thing.
Yes.
But he's there. He's got a heart for carriers and the industry. Like, he's done this forever. Like I said, this is new to me. He's on the job, trained me, trusted me, and not knowing what I'm doing, and just let me try to get in and on the job training and figure shit out on the fly. And so that's what I'm doing. Anything that I can do to help somebody else along the way, I want to try to do that. So I appreciate what you're doing, trying to get the information out to the community and the industry, and we're here for it. So anything we can do in that, I want to certainly do it for you.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. We appreciate
Have
you.
a good night. Be safe on your ride home.
All right. Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was a super great conversation, brother. Dude, she is just
the real deal.
And to think, man, she's only been doing this for 2 years or whatever, and the amount of information she has been able to absorb over that time, and the people and connections she's made, dude, to be able to help fight some of this fraud stuff going on, and not just for her own company, but for the others out there. And that was, I don't know, just a lot of really good information. It really was.
Yeah, love to see. Like I said earlier, man, it's cool. I don't care how long you've been in this business, or how short you've been in the business. If you got a passion for this industry, and especially the route she's taken, trying to make it better, seeing the flaws in it, Claudia for president.
I love it, man. I really hope we can get her president on, man, and talk about that. Trucking101.net. I'm gonna go and explore that thing, dude, and take a dive into it. That looked pretty cool, man. And get him on, talk about that stuff and maybe some other things. So I will catch you on the. Oh wait, nope. Before we go, holy shit, sponsor break. All right, Karen and King, Karen Cole over there at Karen and King Insurance. Have all the insurance coverages for you carriers, brokers out there. Even deals with stuff like life insurance and some other additional insurances as well for your personal side of things, not just your business. Give her a shout. Her email or website's down there. Phone number's down there. Email is on the website. Make sure when you get with her that you heard it on the Logistics Lounge. Boy, oh boy, that just gives me
$25 gift card on the line, folks. Finest
tell you what.
years.
Oh man! All right. Before we go, we're gonna give a shout out to AccuBid Pro app out there in the Google and Apple Play Store for all you owner and lease operators. Help y'all record and learn how to control your expenses. Learn to where you start making money or your cost per mile, should I say? Right now, while there being an advertiser or sponsor, say on the Logistics Lounge, you get your first month for free. Allows you to dive into that, really test the software out. Like I said, it's an app right there at your fingertips. You can do this all in your truck, record all your expenses, put in all your rate cons, everything. It is really, really a very intensive platform. So again, when you go there and download it, make sure you leave a comment in the review and say that you heard about it on Logistics Lounge.
Don't be a victim of cheap freight anymore. Take back control. These are turbulent times for the transportation industry, with companies merging or even closing their doors. Whether you're going out on your own or leasing on with a new company, know your operating costs. Look out for you and bid better with AccuBid Pro.
All right. Hunter, you got any closing comments before we chop out this piece?
Everybody be sure to check your tire pressure when you wake up in the mornings because it's getting cold outside.
That is a very good tip. There you go. Hey, not only do you get logistics knowledge, but we drop automotive knowledge as well. I love it, man. Hey, Hunter, you have yourself a great night, brother, and I will catch you on the flip side. It was good hanging out with you as always, and have yourself a great night. Chunk the deuces.
There you go.